Thanks for joining us on the Best Fork and Friends podcast. This is episode 5. I got Jason, Blake, Kelly here with me. If everybody wants to introduce themselves.
Hey, I'm Jason.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Blake.
All right, nice having you guys tonight. And you were talking about aliens earlier. Jason, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot to say. It's something we could go in deep depths if we wanted to, but
Well,
really,
we can wade in the waters.
well, yeah, I want to wade. I'm kind of wanting to wade. I just kind of want to feel where everybody else is at. Like, we'll just start off kind of. I feel like how do you feel about
if you
them?
believe in them?
Yeah, like how do you feel about them?
Well,
Are
first
they real?
let's go around and see what is everyone's opinion on
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I feel like they're real. I feel like they've been here and they'll be back, and they're currently here. So,
Like, you mean like a They Live type style? Like they're like,
among us right now.
yeah. Have you ever seen that movie, They Live, or whatever? Is that what it's called, Blake? They Live? I had Roddy Piper in it or whatever. And had
Yes.
Sam's here too, but he doesn't have a mic tonight. He's just sitting in. But he's
he's
saying
shaking
yes.
his
He's
head.
saying yes. Yes, it is They Live.
Yes.
Yes.
And he has some movie expertise, so we'll believe what he says.
What do you think they're like? They're
Well,
in our shape, or
I feel like there's more than one type. I mean,
Right.
there's definitely a lot of galaxy out there, and then there's got to be more than one galaxy, right? We all know that. So
there's lots of them.
to believe that there's nothing else out there is kind of far fetched. But hey, let's go around real quick. Hey, Blake. So how do you feel? You feel like aliens are real? Or?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, with aliens, there's layers to aliens. There's the concept of aliens. There are maybe people saw a different entity and said that it was an alien. It's like, what are aliens? First of all.
Well, yeah. That's
Second
what I'm
of all,
saying,
some
deep
people
depths.
say it's something not of this earth, and we call people not of this country aliens. So there's
Be
so
another
many.
dimension.
Yeah, exactly. I think we live in multiverses. I think that right here is here, but it's also the sheath of something where there's something more. So, I mean, it's a deep topic. You know, aliens can be anything, but I do believe they're real in one way or another. So.
And I agree. I believe they've always been here. If you want to get real deep, I believe that obviously God is an alien. He's not of Earth. Whatever your opinions are there. But he created Earth that, if you believe in all that, he's an alien. Anything of not of Earth.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's
just some people might take that like he's the gray man, like a gray being. Like when you say
No,
I get what she's saying.
Yeah.
She's not saying like, oh, God's a gray alien.
I'm not saying
No.
that either. It's
And that
just
he's
sometimes
coming
I
and
think
abducting
could
people.
think
No,
that.
not like that at all.
No.
I'm saying
That's
that.
why I wanted to say that, so you feel
Right.
So
right.
people are like,
waters, clear the waters.
oh, Kelly's just totally nuts.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking
No,
committer.
and also,
I
dude,
think-
there's also a crazy theory that, he could be a time traveler, right? A guy who, like, if you think about it, if we were to go back in time right now with, like, our smart watches and our phones and shit, like crazy shit that tells us the weather,
Yeah.
tells us, you know what I'm saying, and go back and
How
say,
is it going to
hey,
tell you the weather,
it's
though, if
like
there's no cell phone?
Interdimensional, I feel like. He could be like...
Well, yeah, I mean, we can look at it in a different way. I'm just saying, if
And
go
then
back
you're going to
with
run
any
out
kind
of battery. So if
even
you're
a
time
phone-
traveling, you better take along a solar thing so you can keep charging your magic device.
Well, when I'm planning on traveling, I'm planning on going prepared.
Well,
so.
if they're beyond time, though, if you think of things in the future that's beyond our conception of what technology is, it could be something that always existed, and it's not necessarily from the past or future, and it knows it's outside of time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So it could go somewhere and have all these gadgets. He could be the gadget,
Exactly.
or she, he, whatever.
Right. Well, it could be
Whatever it
within
is.
him.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it.
And that ties
And
into
there's also-
spirituality, dude.
And there's also atmosphere pressures and shit like that. Like, there could be a device that could tell you it's going to rain, and it don't have to be, you know what I'm saying? It could just go from what you're talking about, like, where you're at.
Yeah.
And, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's
Well,
things
even
that
the
can do that now.
vibrations. Everything, you can read stuff off of vibrations. Like, if you could see that, you would see it constantly in the air. It's just crazy. Like, there's so much that we don't know that is not opened up to us that we have. We're still not advanced.
And that's what's fascinating with some. Well, I don't want to get off topic of Branson. We still got to get to him. his
No, go ahead and
opinion
say what you're
on
going to
it.
say. I can say what I'm
But
saying.
you know,
next.
like if you look at Egyptians and like ancient India, they knew crazy shit. They
Right.
had those pictures of aliens, Ra, and all them. There was even I watched a video earlier where a guy was talking about how one of the entities did come and said, "I'm not God. I am this entity. Don't worship me." But some of the other aliens insisted on being worshipped as God.
right.
supposedly. A lot of this stuff is written in hieroglyphics, but they knew how to position the pyramids in exact same equation.
Yeah.
Like it aligned with the planets and the
Yeah.
moon, and then Aztecs did the same thing. India still does the same thing with temples.
Right.
So when we think of
Mexico.
God and all that,
There's a
like,
lot
I
of
think
them.
we think it's this authoritarian man in the sky. It could be this ancient
They've got,
energy
like,
that
a
speaks to people
spaceship
different ways.
runway
So
that's over in freaking Mexico.
A what?
If,
Yeah.
When you go up and you look at an aerial view, it's miles long, but it looks
a
like
spaceship
it
runway.
looks like a spaceship runway. No joke. I'm
Is
not
that your
sure on the
opinion,
location.
or is
No,
that a fact?
we've seen it. This is all like on the ancient ruins. You know, the things that you can watch on
Yeah.
Netflix. All those documentaries.
Well, I was just
Like-
always under the assumption that spaceships don't need a
Hover,
runway; they just
yeah.
come down.
Well, it was some
If it's
kind
an
of.
ancient one, it might not operate the
I
same.
don't
way.
know.
well, either way, it might
It's-
be an alien portal thing
It
or
was.
something.
It's like covered up a little bit by some of the earth and stuff, but you can see like the layout. It's pretty freaking insane.
You ever
I don't
seen the
know.
movie Stargate?
I don't remember it.
What about you
what
guys?
was it?
Stargate?
I
I
know
don't
what
know
it
if I've
is, but
seen
I've
it.
never seen it.
Well, they had like a thing. That's how they would travel through different,
Yeah.
like to different galaxies, worlds. It'd be like this portal opens up. You put in the code, shoots out like this water-looking thing, and you just walk through it. Takes you. But there were stargates that some ancient race had put all over, the universe.
This
So I
might
can
be
see what you are saying about portals, but as far as what I
Yeah.
believe about aliens, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like they don't exist.
at all. Like you
I
don't
know it's
think.
unpopular opinion between these group. of
No, it's
people
cool,
here,
but I'm saying like a real question
Well, it
for you.
depends on
I just feel
all
like-
the shit out there.
I
you
just
don't
feel
think
like
there's nothing
all
else
that.
living?
I just feel like all that shit that we see is like our technology. You just don't know about it because they
they're
like it.
hiding
They
it.
like you thinking it's aliens because they don't want you to know what they got.
Yeah, man. I mean,
And
if
that's
you-
my
if you-
opinion.
if you go with that theory, I get you what you're saying. My
Yeah.
theory is there's just so much
I think
out there.
I just think that there's drones that are more like highly advanced than what we see.
yeah.
They can do all
you're-
these things.
So you're one of
Sure,
those people that believe birds they're not real, right?
No,
Oh, okay. I just wanted to
no.
make sure. Have you heard that?
Oh, the
No,
birds
but I've
not
heard a lot of
birds
Yeah,
aren't
that
real.
they're all
Well, yeah,
like-
well, it
yeah.
started as a meme, but like it's
What?
blown up. Yeah,
Yes.
there's this thing called birds aren't real.
Yeah.
and they're basically saying that they're government spy drones.
Oh
It started out as a joke, but some people have taken it serious
Wow.
at this point. Yeah, the birds aren't real.
Hey, I know this might be a little off topic, but have you ever lost something in your house and you know that it should be in there and you never find it?
Yes, and it's weird as hell because
No.
you know that was the last spot you put it.
Those
Here-
are those
here's
are
a
those are
theory for you.
gnomes.
Yes. Well, no, they're not
What?
gnomes.
Yeah,
Gnomes.
that's what they said. Gnomes would like steal your socks and shit.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what-
I'm not talking about socks. No, I'm talking about just everything. But what I'm saying is there's a theory that there's these little, they're like kind of like black holes, but not really. But they're
it gets sucked into it.
yeah, and it goes to a different dimension. So like me, you, we're all too big, so we'll never get sucked into it. But like
Yeah.
smaller things.
You know why you're
can.
saying that, real quick, to segue off that. So, okay, like Branson's saying he doesn't really believe him, and you're talking about this theory with the black hole and stuff like that. So, even quantum physics knows for a fact that there is weird things.
Well,
We give things definitions and ideas, and that's where mythologies come into play, and like the idea of an alien, what they look like, and everything. You got to think in the way of that. We live in a huge universe where there is multiverses, there is energies, there is quantum physics which come into play, and when like atoms split, electrons, protons, all that, all this goes hand in hand. So it's like what you're talking about with the black holes and stuff. We know there's black holes. We know that there's
Right.
these different things in space. And when quantum physics, they say there is multiple versions of everything going on at once in space continuously. At
Oh
all
yeah,
times.
even in science they say that there's
Yeah,
probably
so
multiple.
even if you look at things on like a logical, or it's hard to say logical because
Scientific.
what is logical really? Everything's
yeah,
crazy.
you mean like a scientific
But yeah,
scope.
like if you look at a scientific scope, even in that way, it's like, yeah, things like what we're all talking about can exist. It's just, I think all of us, we have a conception. Since we've been born, we've been taught ideas of what are things and what are definitions and what are
Well,
concepts.
we were all programmed basically,
Basically,
like, in
yeah.
a sense.
In
I
a
mean, but
sense.
I guess you like at some point you would have to, or otherwise everybody would be
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah. Otherwise, yeah. I mean, it's not
You
a
know?
bad thing. I just think sometimes when you look outside the spectrum of everything,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, and what I'm saying, even what science can say is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well,
it's weird how all that ties
Mm-hmm.
in, though.
I had just seen like that thing, like, well, obviously you see all these other podcasts talking about aliens, and like they have scientists on and they're like, have that thing that they're probably not like real or they're not here. And if they were real, we probably would not want them here
Oh yeah.
because
They probably want to kill us.
they would kill us.
Yeah. At
Harvest.
very least hurt us. I mean, it just depends.
Who knows?
You never know.
Yeah.
Or like they've had the theory that they wouldn't mess with us because we weren't worth their time.
Well, there's another
basically.
theory. There's another theory that the aliens are coming around more now because we are destroying the Earth, and they're starting to be more active to try to intervene.
Do you think that
But
what you're
I
saying?
don't
You're
know.
saying like they have.
They've been monitoring us this whole time.
That you think that they kind of made us and they're monitoring us, and now we're.
I
we're
don't
about
know about made us, but like aliens could have very well been like angels per
Yeah.
se. You know
Well,
what
that's
I
was
mean?
saying,
Like,
about to
To,
say
well, I'm
when
just.
you say
I'm
aliens.
just asking because
Right.
It
like
could be spiritual
aliens. I'm like,
beings
well,
too.
Exactly.
It could be spiritual
why?
beings like
Why would they
angels.
give a shit? Is basically
because
why.
they've been watching us, and we're starting to. I mean, it's getting bad.
I think something's intervened though, because talking about like Egypt and Atlantis and stuff, they were known to have contact. In the Vedas in India, the very first spiritual philosophical text that's recorded, the Rig Veda, they were talking to these. They call it I'm gonna mess it up, but I think it's Shamudra. What was heard? They heard something revealed to them, and they wrote it down eventually. But they would sing it in hymns, and it was all these contact with beings. They called them gods because they didn't know what else to call them. So it's just weird from the very long. This is a long time ago. This shit. So
Right.
I just think over time we did fuck up the world.
Yep.
We made it more clouded between us and them, and then maybe now they're like, okay,
We got to step back in.
maybe we should intervene.
I would say like the world's more polluted,
Oh, absolutely.
but as far as human comfort, I would say that we're at the highest
oh,
pinnacle.
for sure.
of,
But
like,
is that really comfort though? You know,
like
what I
as
mean?
far as like violence, shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think we think there's more of it because it's like on our phones, in our face, and we get to see all of it.
Very true.
But
it's not
there was
like
definitely more rape, more war,
Right.
Oh, for
like
sure,
more
yeah.
murder per capita
Yeah.
right
back
it
in the
was
day.
Yeah.
So like things have gotten
It's
better,
all in
Barbaric.
hindsight.
It
but we
was-
have also we're destroying the earth more than it's
Yeah.
ever been destroyed.
Definitely.
I
It's
mean,
weird.
in that sense, like
all of our technological advances that we think that were great, like plastics and things, have done nothing but just kill. Like
Microplastics.
we're learning, but it's also like to what extent?
Yeah.
Look, we're killing
But
ourselves
hey,
too.
isn't that the nature of everything? Like eventually, it,
But
it,
that's
it all
why
comes
they
into
could be wanting
creation
to
and
step
all.
in.
life balances out in a way.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We always go through waves. I think sometimes people get too smart, like AI. That's a whole nother topic. But I think that us creating that could potentially overtake
That's
everything.
freaking
So,
insane.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Humans have got to that point. So you got to think at some point we're bound to doom ourselves.
Well,
Roman
it's
Empire
scary,
fell.
dude. If you think about it, because a lot of AI, it's getting so smart so quickly. It's
It's producing on its own.
because it can search the internet for every if you put something in AI and say, hey, put a topic in, it's
Oh,
gonna
it
just
does it
go
quicker
through
than
all
you
the
could,
internet.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Right.
gonna get every bit about that topic.
Yeah, and more, and that's where we're talking about waves and quantum physics. And all. I think it draws on other energies out there, because if you think about it, we have waves. Waves are everywhere, even like scientific waves. All the different types. So it's like, what if it's receiving things on those waves too? Because I mean, think about what
very well
internet is.
could be.
Chips.
That's how radio
and waves.
signals send,
Well,
right?
Exactly.
right
the
now-
Wi-Fi, everything is in the
Yeah,
air.
right
Like, if
now,
you could see
yeah.
it with the naked
There's
eye.
a bunch of information in the air all around us.
Exactly.
The Wi-Fi.
It's all in waves too.
We can't see it, so
But
I
it's
can
all
kind of see what you
over.
guys are saying there.
Yeah,
But-
that would be fucked up. I've never thought about it like that until you just mentioned that.
I
it
wonder-
could be
sometimes I
receiving other
wonder-
information.
Sometimes I wonder if any of that, like, our brain somehow picks
Dude,
that
I
up.
was just about to say
yeah,
that.
that very
No,
well
they-
could.
Like,
there's-
is that even?
I
I don't
think
know if
he-
it's possible.
I think
it
it's
is.
100%
Fuck,
possible.
and I
If you're
think it
open
happens.
to
because
it.
we're all like antennas ourselves.
I mean, I don't
man.
know if you have to be open to it if it's a strong enough signal. I mean,
Well,
some people could be. You could do something
True.
you don't want to. I mean, how many times have you heard like stories about people doing shit they didn't really want to do and shit? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying
I don't know,
that's
I kinda-
alien wave shit, but I'm saying
No,
that some of
I-
that shit could.
understand what you're saying there.
Yeah.
It could very well be messing with their mind.
Yeah, you never know, man. You all the stories about hearing voices and shit. They could be hearing
Right.
voices. It could be radio.
Oh my God,
like
that's
a
a
radio
whole other-
signal.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Well,
That
yeah. I mean, come on.
Well,
Yeah.
well, things that have happened is
So-
people have had shit, like say, like not a filling, but there's been instances where somebody had something in their tooth. It wasn't a radio chip or nothing, but they did pick up a radio signal, and they were actually hearing
Radio. Yeah.
radio.
Yeah.
That's
I,
I know
heard,
you're
I don't
talking
know.
about.
I don't know if that's fucking real.
No, it is
or if it was
real.
a fake story.
It was
but-
an interview. Is that chick? She used to play on the chick that was on I Love Lucy.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
like
I
a
don't,
ball or
I don't know
whatever.
if she was just crazy or
Lucille.
that was a real thing.
No, like that's so the interview's legit, and yeah, she could have been crazy, but
Well, that's the problem.
that could be
though.
legit.
Craziness does exist, at least, you know.
Yeah, so you got that.
She might not be crazy. It
No,
sounds
but
crazy,
I'm not
but it could
saying
be
she
legit.
is. But I'm saying that's the problem with all this stuff. There's so many levels, like, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people would rather play the crazy card because it's easier. Because
It's
it's too
super
it's too
easy.
weird to go deep into it.
It's
Because
not
then
even
it's like,
weird.
whoa.
I don't think a lot of people want to put that much thought into a
No,
lot of,
yeah, that
especially
too.
nowadays. It's like we want to just figure out what it is, decide what it is.
Yeah.
Make
But then
our
there's
decision
crazy
on what
people
it
too.
is.
So that's where
Well,
like
there is
Well,
legit crazy.
that's where it
people.
all there's so many levels of all this. And it's
But
a
what's
shame
making
that
them
maybe
crazy?
and exactly. And
It
why
could
are
be.
they thinking stuff? Even like
You know what I mean? Like, could
Yeah.
it be frequencies? Could it be
Radio-
things that are
radio
messing with their
waves.
brain,
Could be.
making them crazy?
Well, and then there's like the
causing
whole
these
idea of your pineal gland.
diseases.
Like when you're born
Like
and you
rabies.
die.
Did you ever see that
Releases
thing
stuff.
where that lady had a brain injury, and then she woke up and she was British?
Wow.
Dude,
Like she
there's-
was an
No.
American
Yeah.
lady, but after she had this brain injury,
All of a
she
sudden,
British
that could be
British
a past
accent.
life that was coming out.
I don't
No,
know
no,
about
dude, no. So
Yeah.
there's stories of people like same thing, hitting their head real hard, and they come and they're a genius afterwards.
Yeah, I've seen that shit too.
Dude,
Yeah.
you don't think you have past life?
That's why I
don't
want
know. We
people-
could
I
get
don't
into
know.
that.
Look, listen.
I just
I think
I'm not
it's
disagreeing
definitely
with you.
a
I'm saying I
possibility
don't
for
know.
sure.
That's why I want people to hit me in the head real hard. I might become a genius.
You might remember something. You could
No,
have been.
I might become a genius, dude. If I could play with numbers, bro, I'd be betting.
Well, you
I'm
can
in
play.
Illinois.
You can play with numbers.
I'm just not
I mean,
good at it. I want to be good at it. That's what I'm talking
He
about.
wants to be an automatic
We can go get you
genius.
those little blocks that they get toddlers.
Yeah.
Hey, no, I play with my daughter. She beats me all the time. Let's not get crazy here. You know what I'm saying?
No, there's a lot to think about and all that stuff, and that's when it comes to our beliefs too, as individuals and as a collective whole. Like Carl Jung talks about the collective consciousness, how one society ultimately has one consciousness because we're all on the same wave, the same life existence. So, and like what's put out in the media and everything too, it feeds people's head. So now people all start to think the same. It's like higher
Well,
mind.
I agree. I 100% agree with you because, like, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like, regardless of how you feel about religion,
Yeah.
people are bred to think the same way, and when they think the same way, you kind of get on this same level.
Yeah.
And I've seen it in church, like,
Oh, me too.
regardless of how you feel about it, and like, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% convinced about it. So like, this is coming from a perspective of somebody who's not like 100% convinced in God, right?
Yeah.
You go to church and you get a bunch of people like doing the same kind of like, you can call it worship or whatever you want to call it, just kind of
Yeah.
trying to get on the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
There's
They do,
definitely
yeah.
something that
No.
happens
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh no, I
when you
agree
get
with
a
you
group
because
of people on the same level of whatever,
absolutely.
right?
I've been on the fence, about like I used to be way more a believer when I was young, but like on the fence as I've gotten older, I kind of don't know. Like after you
Yeah.
learn a bunch of stuff about the world, you're like, well,
Like really.
how is it fair for
Yeah.
Yeah.
all these people who are raised Hindu or Buddhist to automatically go to hell? You know.
Exactly.
So then that made me
That's
like,
not-
well, I don't know if like what as far as my
Yeah,
beliefs,
well, I
but
think
like
all that,
I
yeah, that's
definitely
all different.
agree with you that like when you get in like a church setting, that things happen. Like
Or
as
any
far
kind
as
of a
like
Yeah,
spiritual
any type of
setting.
spiritual setting.
well,
yeah.
you can just kind of feel it, and it just might just be humans getting together
Yeah,
because
that's-
you get fucking hate groups
that's
that
what
get
it is,
together,
dude.
and then they all feel
they
hate
feel
together
it, yeah.
too.
Yeah,
so
I'm
I mean,
not
Exactly.
necessarily. Yeah, look,
the hate
listen.
can
so
cause
I think it's more like the thing like Blake's talking that
riots,
people
the-
are on the same wavelength, like
Yeah.
we're all
Right.
connected in a
Yeah.
way. So it's a matter of what like obviously people who are going to church
because people
usually
feed
are
off
trying to
of
put
other
out a
people's
positive
energies.
Yeah.
energy out there. You know what they're usually putting out a positive energy,
Yeah.
which there's been times where I've been in church where that's the most judgmental people that you'll find, and they're like
Oh,
scowling
yeah.
at you if you're
Yeah,
late or not,
which is the
or
opposite
you're
of
not
what Christ wanted.
like, or you're not dressed the right way. You know,
Right. And what does that
stuff
matter?
like
that
that.
shouldn't matter. You're in God's
Yeah.
house.
But
Exactly.
I feel like you could get the same thing like and like it obviously happened with like Nazis and shit. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like no matter what you're doing, it could be like you could look at it. We could all look at it as a bad thing, but if you get enough people on like the same like thought process, there's definitely a different feeling. So I feel like as humans, like there's definitely some kind of like, I don't know what you call it, like energy or whatever. If you get enough people on the
You
same
can
kind of,
create enough.
Well, that's kind of the collective consciousness thing. You know?
yeah,
It's like
Because-
and that's what got me
thing.
thinking about it when you
Yeah.
mentioned that. It got me thinking about it
because
like,
you guys are all drawing from the same source at
Yeah.
that time and putting forth that energy out there, and
Yeah.
it's just building and it's creating, that ball that you can't see that ends
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
exploding
Well,
into, if it's anger,
Yeah.
if it's happiness and joy, you can feel it. You can feel it in the
for
air.
sure. That's a lot to do with like in the ancient times they call it the energy prana. Like the ancient rishis and stuff in India, they actually meditated and got so in tune with themselves that they could see this whole system of prana. They say a lot of things are taken through your breath. Like when somebody comes in the room, you can like sense things through the breathing
Is
of how
that
they feel.
kind of like an aura, like where
Yeah, it's
people
like
can see
aura,
the
prana, and
colors?
chi. Like they're all
Yeah.
they go hand in hand, and that goes hand in hand with everything we're
Hmm.
saying too. It's like that's why it's weird when you look at cultures. They all have an idea or belief behind it. Even through religion, they explain this stuff, mythologies, all of it. And that's why when you point the finger and say, "Well, I think you're wrong," or right? It's like it just all depends, man. And everybody has to align with how they feel the best in their mind, I guess. man.
yeah, and I made a joke, and we talked about our buddy Bobby. We haven't talked to him
Your
for a
bubby.
long time.
I got that
No,
too. It's cute.
So we talked about him, and I remember one time. It's been a long time ago, but to me, there's some kind of truth to it. I was like, I told him basically, I was like, man, what makes you think that the religion you've chosen is correct? Because I mean, if you really think about it, there's hundreds of religions out there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like,
Literally hundreds.
Yeah.
so I'm like,
It's
so
not
what
more.
makes you think that you picked the right one? Like,
It's because
we all think
Right.
we
You
did.
put
That's what I'm
energy
saying.
into
Like,
it, and then it becomes your reality.
yeah, and that's my
Anything you
point.
put faith into becomes your reality.
Well, that's my point. It's like so people get so hung up on it, and like it's so real. Like they're so strung on like it being that's the absolute truth.
That they don't want to.
But there's the chances of them actually being correct are not that high. Like
But
if you go
at
by
the same
percentages,
time, they probably are correct. They are feeling that thing, but it's just
in their own way.
yeah,
right?
in their own
Okay.
way.
Well, sometimes
can
I,
see that.
I feel like if there is something there, people have different religions. As long as you're being a positive human being
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
for the
it
greater
boils
good
down
of
to,
man,
That's
like
what it
I think
boils
that's
down
what
to.
matters the most. Like
Yeah.
it's not my right to
Yeah,
Yeah.
say
no.
what you believe is wrong.
And that's
you
what
know?
the main figures did
You have
anyway.
the
Like
freedom
Christ,
of
Buddha,
choice.
Krishna, they all said that. They
Yeah.
were just like
Which
love each
nobody
other as
follows
yourself.
for
and
some
nobody
fucking
follows
reason.
it.
But it's about being
Nobody-
a
I
good
mean,
human
I think
and being
people
a
try.
good soul
Yeah.
and Samaritan and taking
even-
care of your freaking brother out there. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
You
even
know?
even if you're an atheist that believed in nothing,
You
it's
could at
still
least
about
do that.
being a good human.
Yeah, exactly.
See, and I would take somebody who
they
is
shouldn't be judged for that. you
Yeah,
know?
I take somebody who's an atheist that treats people right. Because
Right.
dude, I've been to a
It's
lot of
about-
churches, right? And there's a lot of fake. Dude, there's
Yeah.
more
Oh, yeah.
fake people in church
I
than
know.
there
Sure,
is
it's
in real
easier
life,
to
right?
be fake in there
Well, you
sometimes.
have, dude, you have
Because you got to
if
put
you're
on a
gonna-
show that you're good.
Exactly.
And
If
you're
you're gonna go to
real.
church, you have to put this
Well-
like persona out there, like you're a certain person.
But
you
then
act
there's
a
also
certain
real
way.
ones too. So
Well,
Well,
no,
the stuff
there's
like
legit
like
people.
that is just like the dude at work who's always bitching about people or going and
About
telling
being
on
late
people.
and they're late all the
but
time.
they're trying to compensate for the shit they're
Shit they're
doing.
doing.
wrong.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. That's
They got
they
a lot
feel
of
bad
baggage.
in some
Yeah.
way about
Yeah.
themselves that they're taking it out on others, and that
Yeah.
happens a lot
Like
because
it makes
people
them,
don't know.
It makes them feel like they're doing something. I
They-
am a good person. Or I
Right.
am a good worker.
they don't
you
know how to deal with it any other way, so they
Yeah.
they take it out on people.
yeah, and then
Well-
there's psychology that comes into play with all that
It's
too.
like the
I
whipping
think the
boy.
genuine premise of the Bible, though, like I've been going to church for a long time because of my wife, not because I wanted
My
to.
wife.
To be queer, to be clear.
That was a Freudian slip.
No, but to be
To be
serious,
clear.
if you go by the premise of it, it teaches you to treat people right, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like everybody could follow that rule.
Oh,
like,
for sure. But a lot
treat
of
people
don't.
right. Do unto others as they
Most
would do unto you.
religions
Like,
are that way.
and
Yeah,
that's how it
yeah.
should be. If you live your life treating people right, doing right on I'm not saying,
Right.
just being a good person.
Yeah.
I feel like I believe in karma. And
Yeah,
I feel
me
like
too.
that's gonna be a good
Well,
thing for you.
that's weird you just said that because I was going to spin off real
that'll
quick
work.
with the religion thing.
Is it gonna be a real quick spin-off?
Well, not. I mean,
We can
just
spin
like-
off wherever you want to, man.
No, but I'm saying with me, like we're talking about all these religions and stuff. I think the reason I went more into Eastern philosophy because it gets into all that heavy, weird stuff we're talking about, energies and like your body and your chemistry.
I
and it's
feel
so
more about
deep.
that shit
And a
too,
lot
man.
of the meditators, they've looked so deep inside, like the ancient
Yeah,
reaches
but
and
the
stuff.
Eastern
They
has
found
some
out
really
so much stuff.
weird.
Well, every religion
Virgin,
does.
like-
Everything does.
Well,
Well, I
that-
mean, he doesn't
Yeah.
take all that shit out.
No.
He
You're
can
not listening
pick
to
and
what he's
choose,
saying.
Yes.
Like he's
No, I'm
talking
not
about
talking
why
about-
he got into. He's not saying which ones he's got into.
No,
you
Sure.
know?
well, I'm
Sure.
talking
And also-
about
That's
like,
true.
and so do the Christian religions. There's weird ones too. So
There is.
don't
And
be
every-
like,
like-
well, the Eastern ones.
I'm not talking about the.
Yeah.
Like, no,
I'm not
they-
even talking about the
like,
surface
every, like,
view of it. I'm
every-
talking about like
Every base religion has the outliers that what you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
always
there's bad
somebody
priests
that
and
does
things.
something. Yeah,
but
exactly.
yes,
There's
so
always
you are
always
right.
But Blake is
You're right.
talking about why he got into.
No, I'm just
Eastern.
saying. With me, the meditational stuff to me brought me peace.
Gotcha.
It made me see this like, okay, maybe I am something more than just this meat bag. Like maybe there is something
You
out
think
there.
you're a meat pack, bud? Come on.
Well,
now.
I mean, I'm just talking
I'm
about
just
like in this carnal body.
Yeah,
like,
no,
where it's
I
like,
get you.
I think there is an underlying
Yeah.
something, even if you just call it energy. And I didn't get that. Just me personally didn't get that growing up in the Christian church. It was more like you be good or go to hell.
Well, I feel like a lot of them. So, church is one of those things that, depending on what church you go to. So, like, I don't know if you guys remember Brendan Haynes. He used to live by
Yeah.
me in a
Yeah.
church.
Remember him.
So his mom and his crazy ass stepdad, they were big into like trying different churches, right? And like I got to a phase to where I was going with them a lot of the times. We were going to these different types of Christian churches. Like we were just trying shit out. So like going through there, you know, you like learn different things about like different ways that people feel about yeah. So it's just like crazy how like it just like taught me a lot to like know that like there's a lot of flaws in it too.
Oh, for sure, everything. And then every person that's involved in it, even if it's not a religion, like with me, I don't claim to be part of any religion. I just have taken things from
Yeah,
things
that's what
that
I'm
I think
saying, yeah.
benefit me.
Yeah.
And it's like it's all in the person too. It's like, are you following the precepts of something? Are you following the spiritual love everybody has yourself code to it? Are you into it for the metaphysical aspect? Are you searching for meaning? Or there's so many layers, and every person's different. Some people do it for selfish gain. Like a lot of people in some of the Eastern stuff, they do it because they want to be an enlightened guru or be a magi. They get into magic because like I'm going to be a magician and I want to power my brain and I want to be able to do spells or whatever. So it just depends on the person and your motive, and with anything,
Well, yeah,
and
that's
like we're
like these
talking about on
mega
the
churches,
base
too.
level. Do
I
what?
mean, these mega churches, if you think about like Joel Osteen and them, they're like, I mean, I feel like some of them, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like they're all like gaining on profit. Like, I feel like if you're a man of God or a man of that concept of what you're preaching, you're not about millions of dollars and
No.
private jets and shit.
No.
Like, even if you can make that, you're not
Yeah.
gonna take it. You're gonna donate. You're gonna do other
Yeah,
things. with
well,
it.
that's what it should be about. Like we're talking about just on a human level. If you are going to get in spirituality, fine. But then if you're a total asshole and all you care about is money and all
Yeah.
that, it's like it's not doing what it's supposed to do.
No.
Well, he had that thing where he basically got that stadium church, and they
Yeah.
had like that big. I think there was this big storm down there, but
Yeah.
people were like
He wouldn't even
displaced.
let-
He
yeah.
wouldn't let people like in the stadium.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
But
Which
there's
was
a
weird.
there's a dude down there that sells mattresses
Yeah.
that was letting people
Mattress
fucking
Mac.
sleep.
and that shows you that's
yeah,
real
on his
spirituality
fucking
right there.
brand new
Right.
mattresses. man.
Mattress man.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Right there. That's what it's
That-
all
that's
about.
my point. And
Take
here-
all philosophies, everything aside. Right there.
And here's my
mattress
here's my
philosophy.
quick spin
Let's do
on
that
this,
one.
and I don't want to get too deep into it, but also like you're also taught like when you go to church that God's the like ultimate, and He's almighty and shit. Like to me personally, like you're always taught that His word, the Bible, is the most precious thing ever. So to me personally, if you're using that for selfish gain,
yeah.
why
you
wouldn't He
totally
just
missed the
stop
point.
you? I'm not saying kill you right there on the spot, but why wouldn't He stop that?
Well, I think 'cause
You're
the whole-
using your. He's
I think there's
using
a
your-
balance.
Well,
to
then there's the
everything, man.
argument of like
Yeah,
if somebody,
there's-
if like not saying like God or like if there was a creator, if a creator created you, and you didn't have free will, then you would have no
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be
The
like,
free
oh,
will
So,
why
gives
he's
you.
not
you're taking
always
the free will
intervening.
argument,
Yeah.
basically. Okay,
He
I mean, I
intervenes
Well, no, I
when
mean
he
like
needs
like
to,
what would
believe me.
what would life
That's
be if
why
you have
I
no
might not
control over it?
Go to
It
church,
wouldn't be your
but I
life.
feel He has intervened.
So I mean,
I believe so, too.
that's
Or
why I would think
something,
why
whatever.
if
can't
if
talk
there
at the same
if there was somebody controlling everything, like they wouldn't intervene because it would take away the point of even existing.
Yeah. Well, they asked in India this guy named Ramakrishna. They're like, "Why does evil exist?" He said, "To thicken the plot, because without any of that, there'd be no
boring.
balance. There'd be nothing. There'd be
Well,
no
just
play.
like on that fucking Rick and Morty,
just be all
Mr.
one-
Meeseeks. When he
Yeah.
lives too long, he just like wants to die because he has no purpose
And
anymore.
it's weird. You think about through suffering sometimes when you gain the most, or when you go through a bad time. For me, at least, that's been my
Yeah.
life. The most down points, I learned the most. I don't want to go through them again, and it sucks that happens to people. But if sometimes when you can learn something from that, then you blossom into a whole nother human being, man. Which, if you didn't have the bad things or any of that, that wouldn't exist.
All right, guys, we kind of got off topic there. Let's get back to aliens. Like, does anybody else have anything else to say about aliens? Because we went way off topic, and we normally do that, like on the podcast here.
I do, yes. Why don't we talk about the different type of alien?
Like, what type are you talking about?
Like the grays, with the big eyes. And then you also got like the tall, slender, dark ones that people see on the sides of their beds and things that come in. No, I'm serious. This is
The tall, slender ones
They're
that come
tall,
inside
slender.
your... No, that's sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
but it's also people think it's aliens sometimes too. Yes.
That's a type of alien?
It is, because it's not the same as the grays. They don't have the same structure that people describe the grays.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
different. And like there's also the ones that look like humans, but they're taller, but they're
Well,
It's-
I've seen like, because like the like stereotypical alien usually is like a gray
right.
or whatever like
Yeah.
that, and then you
I
have
think-
like the reptilians,
Right.
Yeah.
and then like you said, now they have the ones that are like the humans.
You have the
that are like
Anunnaki, too.
the like the Norse shit, Blake. You know what I'm talking about? You heard about like the white? They're called the white aliens, which they're ironically white people with blonde hair,
Yeah.
but those are a type of alien too.
Well,
And
then you got all the
skinwalkers.
humanoids and cryptids. I think they're all the same. I think they're all just.
You think that the cryptids are
I think
part
all.
of the alien?
I think all these things we're talking about, like they're just all entities that we've in our own mind created what they look like and are. I think it's a counter partnership between that and us.
yeah.
I think we give it the vision, and it gives the vision. And some of it might really be like there might actually be some real entities, because if we exist, anything can exist. So there might really be gray aliens with big eyes.
What's your
Yeah,
thought
I
on
don't know.
like the sleep paralysis then? Do you think that that's really like something that's in people's head?
Sleep
Or-
paralysis is a real thing.
No,
Yeah.
yes, but like do you think what they see
I don't know if they're
Well-
actually awake though.
Well, I think
Right,
you're in a
it
different
could
state of
be.
mind. You're using a
Like I
different
think
part
it's
of your
I think it's a
consciousness.
dream.
it very well could be, but
Yeah.
is it like also
It seems
like
so real, though.
like it's out of conscious?
Have
like
you
if
ever
you're
had it?
Oh,
staring-
dude, I've
no,
had some crazy
I've had
experiences
some
on sleep
weird.
paralysis.
Let's hear Blake's sleep
Yes.
paralysis.
Well,
Yeah,
so
scope it.
okay, so first of all, let me say my opinion on sleep paralysis. So like when people reach different states, whether it be through psychedelics or meditation or any of that type of stuff, there's this veil that's thinned where they see these things supposedly, right? And through this, I think it's the same type of thing. I think that the veil is thin to where you're more susceptible to see what's really there.
Like a fourth dimension.
Like
per
yeah,
se.
yeah, like energies and stuff. I think that's what a lot of this is. But through my own experiences, like when I stayed at my parents' house a couple times on the floor, like I'd be in this state between out of sleep and in sleep, and I couldn't move my body, and it was terrifying. First of all, because I just wanted to get up, and I would see these fingers come through the door and hear real high pitched laughters and shit like that, and it seemed so real, and I just want to wake up even more.
I think that you were just asleep, but
it wasn't-
You say it seems so real, but I've had dreams where I feel like they're fucking real. Like a lot of my dreams,
Well, I
sometimes
mean-
they'll be like they're damn near movies,
Yeah.
like and they last forever. Like
Well,
they're
and then what's the concept of real? What's really real?
yeah.
Well, that's one thing that's bothered me, and I'm gonna share something personal that I've had ever since I was a little girl. Like, honest to God, I've had issues where I would try to be washing my face, a simple act right before bed. I would always wash my face, of course, and there's a mirror, but I always felt like something was behind me or something was. It didn't matter where I lived, where we moved. It felt like something was watching, and I had to. Sometimes it would get so strong that I did it with one eye open, and I would soap one eye and keep one, and it was like a whole thing. I can't explain the fear, and I don't know where that came from. or why. It was just that I knew something was off.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain it, but it's even happened here in this house, Branson, when I lived here. And it hasn't happened in the new house, really. I don't
Yeah,
have that.
and for people who don't know, I currently live in Kelly and Sam's old house.
Yes, that we lived here
So,
for 18
yeah.
years and we just recently moved to a new place. But I've had it everywhere else. I just haven't had it in the new place. And maybe it's me.
And
Well, I
she's
had-
saying that
Maybe
people are
it's-
watching me while I'm in the mirror.
I had
Good
an
thing I don't look in the mirror.
The other night here, I had an
because I hate
experience.
myself.
Branson.
This
I was telling Branson the other night I had
Yeah.
an experience here.
Yeah, dude, I'm the only one who does it.
What if,
But
what
maybe
was-
that's because I don't believe in
them.
them.
Well,
Tell me.
yeah, you got to
No,
give
And
them
even if they
energy.
existed, I am
Blake,
not
I
scared
wanna
of them,
hear
man.
about
I
it.
was sitting there, we were recording something, and like I thought it was a cat at first. There's this black thing that just shot by,
Yes.
right out of the corner of my eye,
I've
right through
seen
there,
it.
and I was like,
Oh my
Branson,
God.
is this house haunted? And I didn't
Yes.
know about any of the stuff you're
Yes.
saying. He's like, they say it is, and then and then I was like, and then you're like, but they ain't real, baby.
Right.
I'm fucking stupid. What the
And
hell?
then,
That's
and then I
great.
was
Yeah.
like, well,
But
then I
they
was
ain't
like,
real,
okay,
baby.
and then it helped me. I'm like, okay, fuck it, you know, like,
It's always
But-
been low to the ground.
yeah. And
Like
I
a
thought it was
cat
the cat,
that
but the
people
cat,
have.
but the cat wasn't. He was
No,
up here. He,
But
he
what
was
we've
by me. He
always
wasn't
seen,
there.
was it downstairs? Like
It was
in
up
the,
coming up the stairs. When I was sitting
Oh,
right in
that's
that
crazy.
room, right
because
through
I
that
used to hear
hallway.
I would wake up at 3 a.m. sometimes, and my dog Otis would be barking in the kitchen there, that right up there, and staring off in there, and the cats and stuff. This whole house has had some pretty crazy stories. Even before we lived here, Andrea across the street, she has a friend that her family lived here, and she's really spiritual and into a lot
See,
of.
that's why I think they might see it more. 'Cause
Yeah, it
Branson, I
depends
think they
upon
feed
your-
on that energy.
They do.
They
What?
need somebody to be scared of it. They need somebody
Yeah.
to believe
And
in
I've
it.
always
And
had
since
that.
you're like, screw it, you don't see it.
This bathroom
Yeah,
up
but
here.
what's the point? Like, if they are
Branson.
real, they're a different realm.
Well, I think that some of them are like, they call them hungry ghosts or whatever.
This bathroom up here is where I had issues washing my face. And along with that, I never had this before. But
Yeah.
in this house, I would have something brushing up against my legs, my ankles, and it would freak me out. It felt soft. Like it might have been an animal, but it was so weird. Like I'm getting that feeling that something, like I always did before, like no matter where I lived. But then I also had that happening, and it was strange.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
Well, I
explain
think that
it.
it's like all about what you like. I think some people I don't want to say the words feed into it, but we believe in stuff more. Some people have more of an empath, or they associate with things like that on a spiritual level, and so when there's things, places they can feel it. I think there's other people that it's not a part of their reality, and they don't feed into it, or they
Right.
don't give it any life.
You
So
have
it's
to be
different for
open.
everybody.
You have
and
to
then
be open.
and it just depends. Like I think some people are strong too, though. Some people are just by nature strong, and even if they don't believe in anything, some people are just. I feel like they have a stronger constitution.
I
than others.
honestly feel like it's something that you've unlocked in yourself, that you are more open even if you don't realize it. And that's why you're seeing these things, and not everybody does, because there is something that's unlocked within you
Yeah.
that is experiencing things. I've had stuff sit on my legs before we even had animals here. I had a feeling.
well, maybe it was a dog ghost.
It could be.
We
Could
did
be.
talk about all dogs go to heaven a few weeks back on a podcast.
I think anything energy can carry on. So like the,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
thought
for
of
sure.
ghosts that ties into everything
Well,
too.
if there's human ghosts, why can't there be dog ghosts?
Yeah, they can
you
be
know?
anything.
Exactly,
I
or
think.
cat ghosts or whatever.
I think if my whole philosophy
Lily could
lately
be
has been,
here.
if we can exist, why can't anything else exist?
Well,
We're
that's one
this
thing that-
crazy thing
Fat
that
Kitty
exists
loves
like a
Branson.
robot.
Yeah.
Like
That's one thing that always bothered me about like afterlife stuff was, well, what about my dog? You know, like,
Yeah. No, but I
why
think
can't I
it's
see my
very-
dog?
I think you could see anything.
But yeah,
Really?
so
Yeah, man.
So maybe there are like dog ghosts or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
It sounds weird saying something.
guess more than anything-
because we're skeptical people by nature. I think.
guess more
I
than
think
anything
we're
that-
raised to be like, oh, phooey, all that stuff's phooey. But no, I think there's got to be something to this stuff, man.
yeah, I know. There
I
definitely
really.
is. Well, I mean, I feel like we were talking earlier, like everybody's consisted of energy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously animals are. I mean,
Oh yeah, every organic, everything.
just like we're like, I don't feel like as energy, like we consist of energy, like our energy is just gonna disappear. Like it don't. We know that.
No, I think it just goes on, baby.
So what do you?
Theirs is the
Keeps
same
going
way.
on.
I'm just saying. I feel like everything goes somewhere. Like
Okay,
energy just doesn't
let's
disappear.
talk about this because do you think that maybe when you do pass away that you go back into this plane that is resetting and that maybe
I think you can go ahead. Yeah,
I don't know.
you're
I honestly
deciding your next adventure
Well, yeah.
because you have to go through my theory is that you have to go through life as every like a woman, a child,
Yeah, a
woman,
plant,
like
an animal,
yes,
everything.
like man, and
Yeah.
an angry man.
Yeah.
You have to go through life as all these different
until you're
experiences.
liberated.
Yes,
back
So, like,
to
you
the
might
source.
even
reincarnation?
be.
Yeah,
yes.
but that gets a bad name. But it's like, think about when energy goes on.
But
it's looking for something to go back
then
into.
you have
There's no reason it
experienced-
can't go back into something.
You've experienced every form of life
Serious.
on Earth, and once you've done that, you've lived your cycle. And I feel like there's some people that are different. Might be brand new souls.
Oh,
but-
yeah.
Like that's my theory on it is that you could be going through several different cycles, and that's why some people have these experiences that they can't understand why they're afraid of water or something
Yeah.
already because they've lived a life
Yeah,
that maybe
something
they
happened in the
drowned.
past, yeah.
A lot
like,
of kids have
there's-
recollections of
right.
past lives and they can't explain it. Like
Yes.
they'll know all about a World War II
Yeah.
vet.
It's more
Know his
fresh
name, his
when you're a
date,
child.
birth, everything. And like the Buddhists in Tibet, they specialize on this. The
Yes.
Lama that dies, they know exactly. They have an oracle and everything. It doesn't matter what you believe. This is what they believe.
Right.
That tells them this is where he's going to be born. Go get him, and then they'll put the kid into the monastery. He knows how to do all the procedures and everything. And
Yeah,
they're like, what
already.
the fuck? Yeah, they're like, how? And Richard Gere, out of all people, he went to this this Buddhist monastery, and he saw this little kid up there, and he's like, dude, he knew how to put the thing on me and blessed me and everything. And he was like, I didn't think it was that guy until I was there. So it's all about experience and what you experience. But supposedly they've found out a whole method on how to do this, and it sounds so fucking crazy to us. And even saying it aloud sounds crazy, but it's like anything can be possible.
Exactly.
Energy's out there, dude, and we
We
all
really
have it in
don't.
us.
So are you guys
We
telling
don't
me
know.
that the fucking chupacabra is just some ghost dog, or
it could be.
So I think it could be a species that has been hybrid from like possibly
the Montauk Project?
well, it could be because there's a lot of stuff down south that they've been testing things. So it could be a hybrid.
What are you watching? A
creature.
bunch of YouTube conspiracies or
He's
something?
been watching TikTok.
I watch Netflix documentaries.
No, you watch TikTok.
I watch documentaries.
No, but
He knows.
to be fair, a lot of that stuff's talked about in ancient scriptures in every religion too. Not
Yeah.
to get back on the whole religion thing, but it's like
Do you think
all
we've-
that stuff ties in. I think people witnessed things and saw it and tried to talk about it through stories, and it's so hard to talk about. How do you explain this stuff?
So, do you think that we honestly have found every creature? And do you think that creatures are not constantly evolving? Because we've been around for a long time. And so, do you think that, like you're not going to find some odd fucking dog, half beast, whatever out there because of it freaking evolution and shit? Like things are always changing.
What do you mean by creature? Do you just mean new species?
Yes. And people
Well, we're
are
finding new
calling it.
species all the time.
But
Yeah,
they're
well,
calling
like
it
the
like
ocean, too.
exactly, but they're calling it like little like devils. Like people are trying to make it like a whole.
Yeah, but I think something like the chupacabra wise, if it was like a dog thing, like it would have been like definite evidence, especially with everybody having a camera now. Why is the fucking
No,
footage
but
always grainy?
You know what? I have a theory to add on top of that.
Go
So
ahead.
my dad, out of all people, so like I said earlier, I'm into a lot of Indian spirituality, and there's a guy I like a lot named Vimalananda. I've read his books. He had this whole theory that a lot of things are astral projections because we all have astral bodies. A lot of
Yeah.
these things project astrally and take a form
Yep.
to fuck with people.
Yeah.
And then go back into the ether. It's just part of the thing they do.
I could see something like that.
And my
like
dad,
fourth dimension wise.
when I read this thing in this book, my dad out of nowhere was telling me a story. He was reading a Bigfoot book, and he said one of the theories they're astral deities that
Yeah.
project, and that's why nobody can catch them on camera.
Because
and when
they're
they
not
go
there all the
close, they're
time,
not
yeah.
there all of a sudden.
This
So I was like, that's weird. He said that when I was just
Well-
reading this theory, and that's like with aliens and everything too. He was like, oh, it's all just all these astral beings coming into our atmosphere trying to fuck with us.
Right.
Basically.
If I was
Can
if I was an astral being, knowing my personality,
Yeah.
I'd probably be fucking with people.
be a
too.
little
Can I
chupacabra.
lead into this?
I'm gonna be a
Have
hairless
you
nutty
guys-
Dude, I
dog.
love just saying the word chupacabra.
Yeah.
Have you
Like-
guys ever been outside by yourself and the moon is bright enough that there's a lot of shadows on the ground. Have you ever seen things form out of shadows?
Oh, dude.
No.
Yes. He said no.
And not been fucked up. I'm not talking about
I
drinking.
didn't say I was fucked up. I just
No.
said no, I never have.
I have had some of the weirdest experiences where it's like I am so scared of the shadow because it has morphed into weird. I don't know.
Once you're in the shadows, you will be the fear.
But
and
it's
the
not
fear
like
will
I'm a
be
bad.
the
It's
fear
not
will
like
get
I'm
you.
bad and that they're. But I feel like they're bad. Whatever's in the shadows.
Why? Because it's dark and
It-
shadowy?
no, it feels. It's bringing a fear to me.
I got you.
That
You're
I-
just,
it
like,
make my
sense-
hair
your
Sorry,
senses,
doesn't
stand-
your
help me in
senses,
dark and
all right.
shadowy.
Yes, and
Okay.
like kind of like the bathroom mirror thing. Like I
Yeah.
feel stuff.
Well, you know,
I can't.
one thing I never have trouble doing in that bathroom
You talking about
is
Candyman?
No, I'm talking about the shadows taking on forms that are creepy. That the shadows move.
Well, you said something
themselves.
about the bathroom. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
know,
that's something
You look in the mirror and you
else.
say, "Hey."
I don't ever see anything behind me. It's a feeling.
Well, one thing that I've never had trouble doing in that bathroom is taking a big fat shit.
What was it, an
Okay.
astral shit?
Yeah, an astral. I astrally projected into the bottom of the toilet.
So the only time I've
Did it
ever
look like a
seen
chupacabra?
It looked scary.
Felt like it.
the only time I've ever seen a ghost, and I promise you, is when we went to the Waverly Sanitarium.
No way,
Let's not-
you went
hey.
there?
Yes,
That's on a lot
And
of the Ghost Adventure shows.
we
I watch.
walked up
Where's
there.
that at? Where's it at?
It's
for a honeymoon anniversary.
yes.
No
Where's it
way.
at? Where's it
Sam said,
located at?
Sam, if nobody heard that, Sam said that they went there for their honeymoon anniversary.
Right.
and where's
so
it at? Do you know?
It's in
Louisville.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
And so we went there
No
and
way,
we
that's-
walked through, and I was going through with the thought of, I'm not going to see anything. Yes, there's been probably some crazy stuff here, but I'm not really going to see anything. Well, when we got up to the top level, they were talking about how people see a lot of the times they see the shadows. And a girl, they had somebody from the group walk out, and everybody in the group at the same time, you could see when she had her arms out beside her arms were movement of other arms like mimicking her.
Oh, wow.
Really?
And it was the most insane thing. Everybody saw it. And there's no light, like you can't, there's no cars that can be around up in that area. There's nothing that could be projecting that.
That's crazy.
And they'll have a ball that they'll roll down.
Yeah.
And something will roll the ball back.
Shadows would walk in front of the person, and shadows would walk behind the person.
You could see
the
the
depths
depth
shadow.
of the
Well,
shadow.
It's weird that you brought that up because I've seen a lot of videos.
Well, it sounds
on
like that. Who's whatever entity energies there is playing games with everybody, even during the daytime, and doesn't even care, which is crazy to me. That something that like usually, I feel like a lot of the times when we're talking about things like this, they don't want to be known. Like they're trying to be secretive about it.
Yeah.
Come out at night. Like I'm
Right.
gonna get
Yeah.
you when you're by yourself.
Right.
Like I don't want
Yeah,
nobody else to
'cause
know about it.
All
I
of
think
mine
they
are-
thrive on that.
Oh, I
like-
think they get more. Yeah, they
All
get
of mine are
the scare-
usually by
like-
myself.
Yeah,
So
because
you're
if there's
right.
Well,
too many
yeah.
people, there's too much energy versus them.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
You're
need,
right.
They need to overpower your
And they
energy.
can't-
and they operate on
Some
fear.
of them are not strong enough to
Yeah.
do that
No,
because
yeah.
No.
we have so much more
and
energy
some are
because
strong
we're
enough to do it in a
alive.
group of
Yeah.
people
But
too.
we have so much energy because we're alive.
Yeah,
And they have that.
Exactly.
They have to
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
Well,
to
I
make
think I
themselves
think they feed off
known.
this, like us being scared, that energy.
Yeah.
I feel like so, like when you're by yourself, you're the most.
You're the
like,
most
I would do.
vulnerable, yeah.
Like you're
I would damn
almost
near do
open or
anything.
something to the fear.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
they let this
I would do
person
almost anything
scare.
with a person.
Yeah.
Like
but when
I
you're
would
by
go to
yourself,
a crazy haunted place. Like I
Right.
do all that.
Right.
But by yourself, you,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
feel more
Oh,
hesitant,
no,
right?
yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
So I
about
feel like they feed off that. Like they know, like when you get
And
1,
that's-
2, 3, 4 people, it's like
Yeah.
their,
Well, that's
their,
where
their strength's
But
not
what's
there.
weird
Yeah.
though is sometimes it happens when I'm not even like scared to be by myself. Like I'm like enjoying it, and then all of a sudden it creeps in, and I'm like, where did that come from?
Well, you might just
Because
more naturally be susceptible. So I think
I-
some people are more susceptible. I think that's why there's a whole group of people out there that are skeptics and a whole people that aren't.
Right.
Because some people are just naturally always like, dude,
Oh my gosh,
life's
yeah.
fucking weird. There's something going on, and then the other people are like, well, I'm just,
I want to talk about something crazy. So my brother, his wife, she's like into like these like fortune tellers, I guess you'd say.
Right.
Psychics.
Yes.
Psychics, yes, psychics. And he was telling me today about what this psychic said and stuff. And And I guess his wife has went to her a few times, and she's been kind of accurate about things. And like, so something had happened in his life. I'm not going to talk about the
No.
details because it's personal, but something had happened. And today his wife reached out to this psychic, and she, without saying what happened, actually said what had happened.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's kind of crazy. So I feel like, and she actually mentioned that she kind of talks to, I don't want to say beings, but she's talking to spirits is what she says. So it's like, if you look at it at that angle, it kind of gets crazy because I feel like
They
he's
can
like, he told me, he's like, I know you're not into that and you don't believe. I was like, man, I'm not saying I'm not saying I don't believe in that, but also when you're playing with those kind of spirits, I feel like you're playing with things you shouldn't be playing with. So this
Take it
chick is
back.
playing.
It just depends
Take it
on
back. Do
your
you
constitution. Though,
read your
too, you know?
horoscope? Do you ever read your horoscope and feel like it matches?
I
No,
feel
I
like
mean,
the,
I don't mess with
I feel
that
like
stuff.
the like. Have you ever read? Like, I would like to do a test with you
Yeah.
where I take all the horoscopes, mix them up, give you one.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
let you know if it's yours and,
And
see
you
if it
pick it.
matches
That's
with
a
you.
good
that'd be-
idea.
that is a
Because
great
I
idea.
feel like it flatly matches
Yes.
with anybody.
Yeah.
It says something
can,
that
yeah.
you want.
That's actually
You want it to
smart.
be.
I think it's a brilliant
See,
Like,
idea.
it's
that's
like-
what they do a lot of
No, I
practice
like
like that
that.
in
Because-
India, where they quiz people.
I haven't
because
thought
they're
about
like, no,
that.
we don't want to hear the doohickey, and then they find out
The
that 90% of the time
Yeah.
it's on.
Yeah.
That's when it's adds a whole nother layer to all that stuff.
But
Like,
you
oh.
also have to realize you do have two horoscopes. It's not
Yeah,
just,
you got your regular
yeah, so
star
you
sign
will
and
match,
a moon sign, right?
You will match
Yeah.
with two of them
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So that can be hard. You have to know both. I know
Yeah.
mine though. So
I just really don't get into that, but I have
don't
read.
either.
I have read other people's horoscopes, their sign, objective, like what? Not objectively, non-objectively. Would that be the correct thing? I'm not sure, but like I've read somebody else's and been like, well, that matches mine too. Like that.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Well,
for
I
me.
think-
I think it's there. Like, oh, that sounds good. It makes me happy.
Well,
you
I
know?
think us as humans, though, too, we have so many, like at least with me, we have so many layers of personality. I could
Yeah.
definitely identify, I'm sure, any of them.
Depending
I'm
on your
always
mood,
like-
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
that's
there's-
not everybody has layers of personality, Blake. I
No,
think
no,
that
no,
you're
no.
an
Some people
exceptional
are
being,
normal.
to be honest. I mean, some
but-
people
but I think
are just happy.
he's
naturally.
Yeah, some
he's an
people-
old soul.
Some
He's
people,
been around.
Some people might just be the way they are,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think that means that they might not have other parts of their personality. Like,
Yeah.
like we were saying earlier, some things might like trigger something. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that seems familiar. Or
Well,
that seems this or
you guys
that.
were talking about reincarnation and stuff like that. They're saying that like by people saying old soul, there's
Yeah, they've been around.
there's
for a
beings that
while.
have been around for a while,
Yeah.
and there's beings
Yeah.
that are here for the first time ever as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And that shit.
So-
So those probably are the people that are
let
yes,
me
but
let me take you back to what you guys were talking about with the dreams and kids.
uh-huh.
As a child, I had this dream that was reoccurring constantly. It would always grow and develop through my childhood. But I would be running through these deep, dark woods, and I was always wearing this big dress with all the hoops and crap. But I was being chased by wolves.
Oh, interesting. I had a wolf dream
And
too.
they always, sometimes they would get me, but when they would get me, it was like I would start to feel a bite, but then I would wake up. And
Yeah.
and I knew I died. I knew I had died.
You
in that
died in the dream?
I knew I had died, but I didn't. But it was like I was living it was like a different time.
I gotcha.
And it got stronger. Like at first, it was just always being chased, and they didn't get me right off the bat. But as I
Okay.
got older, they would start to get me, and I would learn more
gotcha.
about the dream, and the dress being. I was dirty. I was muddy. I was, I was running, and the woods were like pine trees, tall, like. I don't know where I was at, but they were tall, thick pine trees, and the wolves were huge, like bigger than Benny, my dog now. That's like old English sheepdog.
Well, yeah, it's a dream.
They were humongous and black and had the green eyes and
Green eyes, huh?
yes,
Green eyes.
Well, I like that you brought up dreams.
Yeah.
So this is a topic that I want to talk about right now. Let's talk
it's
about
actually
some.
got me scared.
Let's talk about some.
I feel it.
He wants
Like,
to talk.
let's talk about some crazy dreams we've had. Like, so she's got her one. Like, I've got a couple on my palette.
Well, fucking pallet them out, unless you
Dude,
want
I've got
somebody else
some-
to.
I think we all might have some weird dreams.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
got a couple, but do you guys got one?
Yeah,
that-
yeah. I mean, I'll start the brigade if you want to, buddy.
Yeah. Let's hear. Like,
So-
I would like to talk about dreams, but specifically not just like some normal dream, fucking weird dream, like
Yeah.
she's talking about.
So, like, my dream's not super crazy, but what's crazy about my dream is, like, I don't know if you guys have heard of, like, a loose dream or
Lucid
Lucid
dreaming.
dreaming,
yeah.
where you can move in your
Yeah.
dreams and shit.
So,
I have a lot of those.
yeah, so
Me too.
the first, I'm going to talk about my first one I've ever had. So, like, you know, like, usually when you're having a dream and you're, like, falling off a cliff or something, you'll land, like, before you land, you'll wake up. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I was having a dream one time. This is the first one. I got two I'm going to talk about real quick. But I fell off this cliff, and then I don't know what, something about me, and I landed, and I walked, and I started walking, and it's like, in my dream, I knew, like, I wasn't going to die because I
Did you
was
land like
dreaming.
on your feet?
Yes,
Or-
I just
okay.
landed, like,
right.
because I knew, like, I feel like when you wake up dreaming, you think you're going to die. Like, like, dreams are so realistic to when you're dreaming.
Well, at
like,
least you. Oh, yeah.
well, for a lot of people, like
Yeah.
when you're dreaming, you're gonna wake up before you fall because you think you're gonna die. I mean, it's
But you stayed in it, is what you're saying.
yeah, and I stayed in it. Like, it was weird. Like, as I was falling, I was like, I'm not gonna die. Like, I thought this, so I landed on my feet, and I just like started walking, and then like I woke up like, what the hell? Like, that was weird. Because usually, like, my whole life, when I fell, I would wake up before I'd hit the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I had another dream that I was in like this house, and I was like in this house, and I was like, man, a car is gonna drive by. I thought this in a dream, and I walked out, and a car drove by, and I was like, that car is gonna come back. Like, I thought, like, every step of the dream, I was thinking, and it, like, every step I thought, it happened.
It would happen.
So, like, I was like dictating the dream.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like, those happened like close together, and like it was the craziest shit to me. And like dreams to me now, like ever since that, are like they're not normal.
They
Like,
changed.
Yeah.
yeah, like, because I know, like, every dream I know I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
Basically.
Me too. Mine are like movies. Like,
Yeah, so like I kind of do what I want sometimes.
Like I'm observing from above and also there at the same time. It's
yeah,
weird.
yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
Like I know I'm there. I'm observing myself
yeah,
living the thing, and I'm in the first person as well.
yeah, it's the craziest thing, dude. Whenever, so from what I've read, you can actually like train your mind to do this. If you like, soon as you wake up,
Yeah.
if you write down your dream, because you forget it like pretty quick. Like you'll remember it right
Yeah.
when you wake
I
up,
don't
everything
remember
you
any of
dreamed
mine
about it.
I remember some of mine.
Dude, right when I wake up, I remember like after that event, I kind of remember all my dreams now.
Yeah.
But before then, it's like
It was
I would
significant,
I
I
would
get what you're
remember
saying.
it, and then I'd like slowly
Forget it.
throughout it, like even an hour, you kind of forget about it, right?
Yeah.
But they say if you go and like as soon as you wake up, you write down like all your events, like what happened in your dream, and you do that enough that you can kind of like train your mind.
To lucid dream.
Yeah, and I don't know,
gotcha.
I don't know how true that is, but
Yeah.
Oh, you can definitely
this
do that.
this shit just kind of happened to me. You know?
Yeah.
I didn't do no kind of training or nothing. But
There is training.
You
and
got
stuff you can do.
what about your dreams,
Well,
Blake?
it's
Yeah.
weird. A lot of weird things about dreams for me.
Let's like keep it to one or two.
yeah, let's keep it.
let's save some for other episodes. You know.
I'll just say a couple points.
Yeah.
So some of the craziest dreams I had when I was younger, like my grandma's house. I think Jason probably remembers.
I
going
loved
there
your
when I was
grandma's
younger.
house, dude. Sunday
We'd go
meals,
there
buddy.
every Sunday and eat a meal, and it was a special place to me. It was like a heaven on earth
Yeah.
to me. And then when she died, I started having dreams, like horror dreams there. Always always a demon or something.
What are you
in
sorry
there.
for cussing? You can cuss all you want, bud.
Yeah.
I just felt like it wasn't appropriate with my
Yeah,
grandma. Talking about
it
my
was-
grandma.
With your grandma in the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Grandma.
So sorry, grandma.
Sorry, grandma.
Nah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But it was a paradise for me. And then I started having dreams, and every time there'd be a demonic spirit. And back then I
Really?
was like more in my Christian faith. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, I rebuke you, Satan, in the name of Christ. I'd be saying it in my dream, yelling it. And the more I would say it, it would mess with me until I'd eventually wake up. But like my dad was talking to his Aunt Berthy, which I didn't even know what she looked like. And that's what's weird about this dream. She was in the house, and like he was talking to her. I'm like, that ain't. I mean, she's dead. that ain't really her, right?
Yeah.
And he's just like, no, it's my Aunt Berthy. And I'm like, dude, that's a demon. that ain't real. And then like she's like, "Yeah, dare you call me a demon?" And flips out on me. Like, I rebuke you, Satan.
This is
Oh
a
my
dream.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird because her face was exactly how she looked in the picture when I woke up.
Wow.
But that's a whole nother thing. But that was some of my craziest dreams were that. And it's weird. A place of sanctuary for me became a place of hell for me in my dreams.
Because of your dreams.
And I
Well,
think it's because maybe like, I don't
That
know.
was that was where she lived, dude. And she like
But-
she meant a lot to you, right? She passed away.
Yeah, and
So I
maybe
feel
it's
like
'cause
that
it-
house. You thought it was a sanctuary, and maybe it was, but deep down it wasn't because that was your grandma's house and she wasn't there no more. So maybe
Yeah.
there was like, you know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
think there's
Maybe
a
she
lot of-
moved out and the fucking demons
Yeah,
moved.
I don't
in,
know.
or
brother.
yeah, very. There's
But I had
there's very.
but I had a couple weird experiences in the house too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That was crazy. Yeah, that was a big part of my dreams.
And that was a reoccurring dream, huh?
Yeah.
That's happened a lot, and I can't ever run in my dreams. So I'm
Oh
always
my
trying to run.
gosh.
And
Me
I'm
too,
like
dude.
in
Slow
slow
motion.
Yes.
You have to like pull yourself.
I
Or
hate
punching.
it.
What about
Yes.
punching?
When
Yeah,
you
you have-
punch and
yeah.
you're so pissed and you're angry and you're trying to fucking
I drag
hit
their
it.
head to my fist in some of the dreams. I'm like, I'm gonna get you. No matter what.
But you feel like
Putty
such
hands.
a fucking idiot still in your dream because you're like, why can't I get this to work? And it's
Yeah.
like, for some reason, it's so
And I
frustrating.
wonder if that's
Maybe
your
it's because you're not
body's-
supposed to
your
be
body's
violent
still
in your
or
dream.
something,
You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't
but
know.
the running in slow
yeah, the
motion.
running doesn't make sense.
No,
and
it's
everybody
like you're
has
in
the
mud.
falling dream.
Oh God, the falling
yeah,
dream.
yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
stand that
Hey,
dream.
try being the star running back in your dream and can't run full speed.
Yeah.
You get
That's a
tackled for 5
nightmare. He
yards.
can't make a damn
Dude,
touchdown.
try running from wolves in your dream and you can't run
Yeah.
because you got this dress.
I'd much rather
and-
get ate by wolves than get tackled for 5-yard loss.
I had some reoccurring dreams. One had to do with wolves,
Yeah.
and then
Let's hear
another
it.
one was like an apocalyptic dream, which was weird. That had to do with the Brownstown Fairgrounds.
Oh my God, my grandma! I went there all the time.
Yeah.
Why do
Which
you
one do
know?
you want to hear first? The
Why do
wolf-
you know about the Brownstown?
Well, dude, it's not hard. We live in a small community
Yeah,
in
but
the same state
How are you familiar
because
with
people
that?
go like 20, 30 miles away. but-
Yeah,
Okay.
it's literally 20 minutes away.
What? No, it's not. It's like
Yes, it
30. It's like 30 or 40 because
If
you got to
you
get
go
off the
so I
interstate.
said- so I said
35
too
the
many.
whole time.
I
Well,
went
either,
there.
either way, I think that's a synchronicity for Kelly right now.
I said
'cause
too.
of that.
I said too
It's
many miles. I'm
crazy.
sorry. I'm sorry, folks. I said too many miles. I said 20 or 30, and obviously,
No, but I think I
It's
understand
not.
why
It's only
she's
20 or 30
acting
minutes.
excited about it though, because it's something that pertains to her.
Yeah.
and it's a synchronicity.
well,
Yes.
which one do you want to hear first, Kelly?
I want to hear the Brownstown.
Brownstown. She wants to hear the Brownstown. So, this is a reoccurring dream I had as
Yes,
a child.
please.
It was a nightmare, and we were at the Brownstown Fairgrounds, and there was like a demolition derby going
Yeah.
on, and there would always be this little doll like type girl. Like she wasn't a doll; she was a real girl, and she was in like a doll dress. So you know how dolls are dressed
Yes.
in that dress, but she would be controlling like this big creature that had levers on it, and the creature didn't have a head. She was just at the top of the head controlling it,
Why do you know?
and it
my
was killing
secrets?
everybody.
No, I'm just kidding.
It was killing everybody, just causing chaos and mayhem. And I'd wake up and just be scared to death. And it would be that same dream over and over and over again.
How long did you have that?
Yeah.
Oh, for years. It was
And
weird.
that was how old?
I don't remember. I'd have to ask my mom because she was dating a guy over in Carlisle, and that's the reason we went to the Brownstown Fairgrounds. I had a good time at the Brownstown fairgrounds, but you would have that nightmare over and over again at his house.
That's
And as far as the wolves dream,
Yes.
go ahead and say what you were going to say, Blake.
I was just saying that's weird about recurring because it seems like it's something.
that makes no sense to me. Even
well,
now.
Well,
it
there-
might be like a psychological or a syncretic thing.
But why
with
the
her life
doll?
or something?
Why the doll girl? Like
Who knows, man? There's so many
driving
theories.
the like the fucking chaotic apocalyptic machine, not machine, but like a creature,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah.
And then there was this one like movie series that was sold through my grandma used to sell like a Avon. And
Mine
they
too.
they would have like the cheap movies on there for sale, and grandma would buy me a movie here and there. Well, there was this movie series where these I forgot the name, and I'll have to look it up. But it was a name, and it was a series where these people went out into the wilderness and survived and built their own cabin. But there was this group of wolves that would come attack them. And there was this black wolf that was like the main bad guy wolf. And it was like live action. They just somehow filmed this shit. Cheap Avon movie. But I would have this dream at my other grandparents' house out by the lake. And the fucking black wolf was always like coming to like I don't know if you ever been to my grandparents' house, Blake, but there was like the downstairs.
A Woober?
That outlooked on the lake.
Yeah.
So they had those windows down there. Well, that main wolf would always be in the window with his like red glowing eyes somehow, and he didn't have red glowing eyes in the fucking movie, but that fucking wolf like followed me into the fucking dream, and I had my own little movie reoccurring dreams where we were always being attacked by wolves at this house.
You are like somehow, yeah. I've seen that before in dreams where the wolf has been outside the window.
But
The
this was based
black.
off a movie, not just.
Mine's not.
It's not like. Oh,
My brother-
this came from something. Like it was not like just out of the nowhere.
Well,
like
can
I
I
watched a
s-
movie.
Can I tell you, my brother as a little kid, I don't know how he knew, but he knew that wolves bothered me, and he would go outside. We lived out in the country, right? And I'm talking, we heard coyotes and stuff, but Barry would go outside my window and fucking howl and scare the living shit out of me. I'm like under my blankets thinking that's gonna work, you know.
My dad used to fuck with my aunt, who's closer in age to me, but he used to fuck with her, and like out at the farm, he would say the farm was built on old Indian burial grounds.
Barry did that fucking same shit. No, and he would. Oh my god.
Probably a lot of
It
times.
scared the
it's
shit
true.
out of her, but it
Around
might have been
here,
fucking true.
around
Fucking-
here,
who
there's
knows?
a lot of burial grounds with Indians.
Yeah.
That's something about Southern Illinois. I think a lot of people don't realize.
Right.
There's a lot of native.
But that's
stuff
just
going
like
on around here.
reoccurring dreams. Like a dream that I had that was like a movie one time was like I had a girlfriend. Her dad was a professor at the college, but we had went to St. Louis together in this dream, and basically we were walking down Delmar, like going to something. We went into this hall, and there was some conference going on in there. We went down the spiral of steps, we walk into the conference room. There's like a conference going on, like a big hall of people. One guy's up there speaking. He's talking all this shit, and he's like something about a gordita. Like that's all I remember. But I spoke up like in the hall, and I was like, "No, it's gordita. No, gordita." And he said he stopped he's like, "Oh, excuse me, gordita." And then we left the conference for some reason. Go outside on Delmar again, and then all of a sudden her dad like skateboards up to us, and he's not a skateboarder. Probably never skateboarded in his life. Skateboards up to us, and he has yellow eyes, and he's like a skateboarding vampire. And when he skates up to us, he like kicks his board up, grabs it in his hands.
Like a pro.
Well, yeah, but it just like the fucking dream was like a movie, but it made no sense. Like, why
That's
would I go
awesome.
into the conference room?
Correct
Like
somebody.
not conference. It was what would they call that? Not a conference. Convention.
Yeah.
Oh,
Convention.
like-
That's what I meant. I meant
Yeah,
convention.
Convention. Yeah.
Convention.
Anyways, like there's this convention, and there's a speaker up there, and he's like, talking this shit, and he
Right.
says something about a gordita. And I'm like, no, it's gordita. And he's like, oh,
Gordita.
excuse me, it's gordita. Like, why did he listen to me? And then the skateboarding vampire, like it just made no sense at all. The whole
Well,
dream.
I think sometimes that's what
Well-
dreams might be nonsensical, but I think there's so many layers, like we've been talking about all
Well,
night.
like
with
They have dream readers.
psychology.
Yeah. You
Like
can,
people who
you know
read
how
your
you
dreams.
start
yeah.
dreaming and you're in your house and all of a sudden it's not your house anymore. It's like somewhere else. You know, like how you have the feeling that I was having this party in my house with all these people, but then it's not really your house. It's like actually somewhere else. And like dreams are so cool to that aspect because they can really just morph into anything. And some people can control them and actually do that. I've never been able to
I
control
go back to
my
sleep.
dreams.
I go back to sleep on purpose sometimes.
Me too,
Yeah.
because
To
they're
go
so
back
badass.
into it. To go back
Especially
into
some
it.
of my wet
Right.
dreams.
And some.
Oh, yeah. I've been talking to some hot chicks, man. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go back to that situation.
He said I was getting hot heavy.
Dude,
I
she's
got to go
about to
back
take
in
her
there.
shirt off,
Dreams
and
like
then
that.
the
Let's just be
fucking
real
sound
about
woke me
that.
up, bro.
Well, sometimes that lucid dream like works. Like I'll go back to the dream on purpose, and I'm not talking like wet dreams, just any kind of dream, any kind of dream. But like you go back into it. Sometimes it works out, and you have control and be back in there. Sometimes when you go back into it, everything you want to happen
It's different.
does the opposite.
Yes.
Like it's like
yes.
your brain's like, nope, you're not getting the good dream. Like you were having a good time, but
Right.
now you know it's
Yeah.
now you know you're here, so you don't get to have it.
You
You
don't
Now
get
found
to
the
me
out,
out,
walls
you
are
bastard.
bleeding.
You found me out.
Now they're changing and morphine, and it's not the same dream
Morphine
anymore.
and changing and morphine.
and changing. Changing.
Song by me and Blake.
Morphine.
I don't think I've ever showed you that song. I'm not
Well,
sure,
I
Kelly.
can go with it. Though.
Yeah, I'll show it to you
You
sometime.
know what I was gonna say about dreams, other than that one story? It's weird with me. Like ever since I started doing a lot more meditational practice, I don't have dreams anymore.
Really?
I don't sleep barely ever.
Really?
I
I
can't
sleep a lot.
Like it's weird. Like I'll lay
or-
there
8 or 9
and
hours.
I'm so used to just staying in that quiet mindset that I can't ever fall asleep really. I think that's why, in some ways, like I'm get cantankerous and sleep deprived. Even though it's like I like the meditational stuff, but at the same time, I think I'm so used to putting me in just that blank type state
Yeah.
that I'm not sleeping or alive.
Yeah.
Or you're
It's
just
weird.
more relaxed, so you're not using as much energy.
Yeah.
Like the world's not draining you
And
as
the
much.
You
dreams
know-
I do have been really weird lately too, about like spiritual stuff. But
Like
it's been
how,
different.
how did Leonardo da Vinci like stay up so long? Like he would like
Right.
sleep for 2 hours. Like he would
Well,
just
he'd
take
get
2 hour
that-
naps.
yeah.
Like
He wanted to have
and
that
he lived a
sleep
long
dep-
time.
It was
like
45 minutes.
But he
would take
wanted to
45
have that
minute
because it
naps
made
every
him more
2 hours.
creative.
Yeah.
And it helped him. Yeah, it helped him to come up with all those different, inventions. So
yeah,
Well, and
It's
then
just crazy,
Usually a lot
like
of the
they- what-
genius people stay up; they can't sleep.
yeah.
Like Frank Zappa to me was a genius in music. He never slept. He just always stay up writing and
Exactly.
writing and writing and writing and writing.
it
Just
you
barely
have
ever
to be
sleep.
on the verge of crazy sometimes.
They
Yeah,
are
yeah.
on verge
well,
of crazy.
most the best creative people are damn near crazy, or
Yeah.
if not.
Because they're getting
And maybe
so
we
in-
perceive them as crazy.
Well, I just
Maybe
think
they're-
there's a
they're-
lot more
maybe
going
they're-
on up there, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're
And then who's society to say they're crazy? It's like maybe they're in the right frame of mind. We just view it
And
as
we're
they're,
crazy.
Yeah,
they're
maybe
not 9 to 5. They're weird. Why are
Well,
they
you
staying up
know-
all night?
I don't.
It's like, well,
I don't know if I necessarily agree with 9 to 5.
I don't
You know what
either.
I'm saying?
I don't
Like,
agree
who
with
to me,
created
like,
that in the first fucking place?
society.
knows?
Well, I think it was.
somehow.
I think
like,
from
I
the
think that every
beginning-
day when I'm fucking walking for
Well, think
8
about
hours.
it, dude. I think society, the government, and everything from the get go is like put them in school to a certain age, then they get out, then they have to work the rest of their lives till they retire. When you're old and geriatric, then you can
you get to
enjoy
enjoy.
retirement.
Yeah, they
and
call it the
just
golden
living a
years.
life.
It's not golden.
Yeah.
And
You're,
it's crazy.
Like,
It's like,
you're fucking
38.
losing your
and how
mind.
many people attain to that? They're like, I can't wait till retirement. It's like you could live free now.
Right.
Yeah.
You could be free now, but it's
Yeah.
hard. You have to have money. And it's like you got to pick a career because that's just the way we're raised. And
Yeah.
in some ways, it's unfortunate because, like Native Americans, there was one guy, he was sitting just doing whatever, and the guy's like, "Why don't you get a job?" And he's like, "Why? So I could go to work, then just do what I'm doing anyway. It's like,
Right.
I'm gonna be okay anyway.
Exactly.
I'll still be sitting here." So it's just weird how it's kind of a
We've
shame.
created
It's kind of a
this.
shame, but
Well,
it's
we
also
didn't create it. We were
beautiful.
born into
Well,
it.
Yeah.
our
Not
We
even
just-
our
we
society.
follow it.
But then at this
Yeah.
point, how else would
Ancestors.
we live? I mean, like,
You
can
have
we
to.
think of a better way of
No,
society
you
at this
have
point?
to.
Like,
Well, no, now it's
That's
too
what's
deep.
so
It's
weird.
too
Well,
deep,
if
man.
you
Like
had
now you
trade,
can't change it.
If you had trade, if we would have kept things more about
well, like some of the tribal stuff, maybe
yeah, like we should have kept things not so much about that monetary money, gold, all that. It should have been more about trading off on
Bartering.
like I grow potatoes, I grow
Yeah.
apples,
I'll
I grow
trade
let's
those.
trade those
Yeah.
for what you
Yeah.
got.
Well-
like you do this service, you know how to fix this, I know
Yeah.
how to fix that.
Yeah, let's help each other.
trade.
I would agree with you in that sense, but we would not be as far like in medicine.
Not
as shit
necessarily,
without-
because there's people that still like to learn all of that,
Yeah.
and they would still find a way to
Yeah.
do that.
Well, you always
because
had
you
the
don't-
village,
you
like
don't
witch
have the
doctor, or
money.
shaman, or whatever, who
Right.
would come
Dude,
up
that's
with
what I was
herbs.
gonna say
The
earlier.
hunter gatherers would do stuff like that
Like
too.
I forgot who said something earlier, but they were talking, psychics. Jason was talking about psychics. And I was going to say, there's always been something like that sort of.
For sure.
Because when
the
we
village
watch,
shaman,
when we
all
watch
that.
Vikings,
Yeah,
they had the seer.
oracle, the
Yeah,
seer.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
a shaman. It's
Yeah.
the same
Yeah,
thing.
it's the same thing.
And they
Yeah.
were the guys willing to put their minds and bodies under the abuse of plants and God knows what else
Yeah.
to be like, oh, hey,
Were
I
they
took
willing,
this,
or were
it
they
did
just
this to
having
my
a
body.
damn good time?
Maybe both. Maybe both. But but they
Also-
did lead to a lot of good discoveries. I feel like.
Also, to touch on that real quick on the psychic thing, I might have mentioned it, but she's also been right about a lot of shit she said. Like,
No,
not
you
on-
said that.
Yeah, but not only the one thing, but a lot of other things too. So there's something she's fucking tapping
She's
into.
tapping
Well, that's
in
kind of like relating to
to
the
an
shaman
energy.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
they found a way to lift a veil to be able to interact with this energy more. We're so used to in our everyday lives not interacting.
We're not
with
even
that.
using all of our brain.
No, yeah,
If
Oh,
you see it light,
we lose like or use like less than 10%.
right.
Of our
If
brain
you
or
see
something
it
crazy.
light up, it's not much. So they're probably opening up something else that we're not opening up in our
Yeah.
brains.
And throughout history, people have found ways, or they've like rather it be meditational stuff, shamanistic stuff. There's ways of getting in tune more with that frequency. You know, it's just those guys are always looked at as crazy because they don't fit into the norm, the quote unquote norm of society.
Well, that's how it is
They're
with anything,
challenging.
yeah.
They're challenging. No, I don't agree with
Yeah.
what you're saying, and it's like, well, you're the weirdo, you're the conspiracy theorist. Which, there is conspiracy theorists. There's crazy people, yes, and that's why they can get by with
Yeah.
it because there is crazy,
Yeah.
there is conspiracy, so they can lump them in with that.
Okay.
And we get them all. We can't
Yeah.
figure them all out now.
I want to ask your guys' opinion. What do you think causes people to be serial killers and murderers?
I did
That's a
so-
deep
That's
one.
deep, dude.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
know.
say,
deep.
I
Hey,
know.
to
I
make
can't
it
answer that in
quick,
one
here,
question.
Yeah,
There's so many
But
layers.
let's go into that
No, let
because
me-
I really want to know what your thoughts are. Because
You just
you're
had to bring that
talking
up.
about-
Why I have to
Oh,
go
yeah.
take a leak, right?
Well, you're talking
Me too.
about
That and-
all of this energy and everything. Do you think that that could also cause some people to, like, they've got something within them that's affecting their mind to cause this? I want to eat people. I want to kill
Look,
people.
I got a quick answer for you. So I did a lot of documentary watching on serial killers. Kind of got an interest in it for a while.
Us too.
Yeah,
A
me
lot
too.
of them, and I feel like a lot of their issues were child, like when they were a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it's what happened
That's
to
a
them
big
as
part of a
children.
lot of them.
But
Yeah.
sometimes
Some people are just fucking born.
Yeah, but
Some
some of them don't.
children-
have
most of them weren't
kill
just
animals.
born fucked up. They had
Yeah,
crazy
they kill
shit
animals.
happen.
They kill
and they
animals.
start off and they don't have a
Well,
bad
even if-
childhood with their mother or
yeah,
father.
exactly. Even
Some
if they
of
didn't
them-
have a bad childhood, they start signs that childhood usually.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
and a lot of them actually had a lot of childhood abuse. Like,
There
you're
are-
gonna
yes,
find
Yeah.
most
you
of them
are-
had that.
you
And
are
of course,
right.
that would
You're not
breed
gonna just
anybody
be
crazy.
fucking whacking people left
Well,
and right
no,
for no
that's not
reason.
that's
Yeah.
not true though necessarily. There are cases.
You always
where-
have an outlier that doesn't fit the fucking narrative.
mold.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Just like religion,
And-
anything
and-
we've been talking about.
Like, I'm never into crime shit like women like Kelly are.
Hey, I like it too.
Watches
I like it
the first
because-
48 and all this killing, and I never want to watch it for some reason because I'm just like, no, most of the time on my leisure time I'm trying to escape reality. I don't
Yeah, I
want
don't wanna
I don't
think
want none of
about
this
getting
killing, and
murking.
I don't want to think about somebody coming to get me.
Yeah.
But you
But-
gotta know as a woman, we want to know because a lot of crime
Well,
happens.
what's the weird thing that goes on with
To
women?
women.
No, that's not what I was
Where
saying. You're
we-
trying to finish my sentences. No.
Men think they can overpower us.
No, it's not that. I was going to ask, why are women sometimes attracted to the serial killers?
Well,
Because
I think I know you're probably not.
They lure them in with this nicety.
No. I'm talking.
Yes.
I'm not talking about like in the act how they get caught up.
Oh, I'm not attracted to
No.
serial-
There's women out
No, but
there
there
that,
is that,
who,
right,
who
the
are like
serial killers that
attract
wanna
like
marry
think.
'em, yeah.
It's a phenomenon where
Okay, well,
women
I-
are attracted to serial killers.
I guess I didn't
well,
realize that.
Shouldn't go to
some
that
women
school.
look at
To the
this.
serial killers.
Are you
in prison.
serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
There's a lot
It's
of them.
proven, yeah.
Okay,
I
well,
think
this
it
is
is-
new
I think
to me
lots of
because I
hair.
wasn't aware of that. So
Well, this
Yeah.
is
that's
factual.
freaking
No,
crazy.
I think
no
there's a
birds
lot of
about
layers
it.
to that too, because based on their upbringing and psychology, and I think because they have a name too, they might think, oh, if I love him, they'll
Associate
love
myself with it, yeah.
Me. Yeah, because they want
that
the
he'll
name and fame.
change
Yeah.
and he'll be with me and not kill me. But
Yeah,
And if,
it's
and
weird.
if not
It's
that,
weird.
be like, I was
No,
the
'cause,
guy
like-
with Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
I was the guy with Ted Bundy.
Or they
You know?
go together.
Or
Or
Richard
maybe she
Ramirez.
wants
Like,
to
I'm
kill.
Tina Ramirez.
Maybe
I was
sh-
with Richard Ramirez.
Maybe she
Remember
wants
me
to
too.
kill.
Maybe she does.
Yeah, well,
I don't know what it is, but like I had gotten to this series. Like I never get into the crime shit that I'm talking shit about, but I got into this series on Netflix called
Mickey.
Mindhunter,
Mallory Knox.
and they had season 1 and 2, and then it just got canceled all of a sudden. I noticed they're bringing it back all of a sudden. Mindhunter
Well, the
season
Dahmer
3.
show was like a huge
and the
hit
Dom,
on
I watched
Netflix.
the Dahmer one.
Yeah, everybody was talking about
But
that.
there was some weird shit in that made me laugh for some reason. Like when he was in prison and he was listening to whale noises and they stole
Yeah.
it from him, and he's like, "I'll just get more whale noises, dude."
Yeah.
Like I laughed
like
at that
my
part,
whale
and, I felt fucking bad for like laughing at something like Jeffrey Dahmer. Like,
Right.
but I was
Yeah.
like, I kind of got him at that point. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I'll just get more whale noises,
Yeah,
man.
I'll
I'm still gonna listen to my whales.
I'll still do what I want.
And
But-
they made their own story to that too. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
involve
not all
everything.
factual. It's
No,
like
that's
Hollywood.
why it's
It's
okay.
entertainment though.
that
Like,
you-
they do things out of
Right,
entertainment.
because that probably wasn't totally really what happened.
No, there was some things they know that. Well,
Y-
I mean,
y-
I wasn't there, and
you
I
know-
don't know for sure, but
I like where we gone with this conversation,
Yeah.
and I think sometime, like a different episode later down the line, we should delve more
Yeah.
into the
For sure,
serial,
yeah.
like serial
I think
killer
that
stuff.
would be a fun topic
Yeah.
Like
because I want
maybe
to
we'll
pick
look
your
at
brains.
some things. We'll like research some stuff, talk
Yeah.
about
pull it
that.
up.
Yeah, pull it up right now on the TV.
Pull it up.
It'd
But
be great. Yeah.
I do appreciate you guys coming here tonight,
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
and
We're best friends.
if there's any other topics you guys want to talk about some other time, you just let me know. And I thank everybody for tuning in tonight.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.